everybody. Welcome to the Talking Heartland podcast. This is a show where we're looking at back episodes of the Heartland TV show, and it's so much fun. Today, we're looking at season 11, episodes 13, 14, and 15. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Michelle's here.
Hey, everyone.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
That's good. Had a good weekend.
Busy weekend. It's just one of those weekends. It just totally wiped me out.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we're having a family meal tonight, and I'm just like, I'm so tired. It's gonna be good. It'll be like a family meal on Heartland, right?
Yeah, exactly. No drama in this one, so
yeah, that's
need
good.
a change.
Yeah. So next season they go down to having only 11 episodes. So I think I can feel why, because we're finishing up season 11 next week, and these episodes feel like a lot of filler to me.
Yeah,
especially the first one that we're talking about.
Yeah, they're rough. And they've lost two their sort of cast members as well, so they're sort of trying to do a lot with a little. It's just, like you say, they're just sort of retreading things. And even when they did have Lou back, I don't think they have her back long enough to really do anything kind of meaty and that's going to keep her around, because they know that she's going to have to go in like a couple of episodes, or even an episode. So it's just sort of filler clip episodes, which just it's not good enough. You know what I mean? It's just not. It's not keeping me. I kind of zoned out a little bit during the second episode.
Yeah, me too.
Just sort of retreading.
Yeah, and the first episode we're going to talk about is basically a clip reel.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you get those in popular, particularly sitcoms that need to, the network has ordered more episodes than they can produce. So you'll get a clip episode. And that's basically what we have here. The first episode is called Reunion, and it's a look back at Lou's terrible relationships. Basically, I mean, it makes Lou look like a terrible person. I think in this episode.
Yeah, and it sort of got her to a realization that I felt like they already had sort of established, like the whole journey. The sort of end result is something that it seems like that's what Lou has been doing. She's been single and focusing on herself and her career. So it just felt like we went through all of these sort of rehashing all these three relationships and it feels such a waste as well in terms of Scott. Like, it'd be so fun to have Scott do something that isn't involving his past relationship with Lou. And I also feel like this is the second time something's came up with Lou where he's been like, I'm in a relationship. Like, that happened the last time.
Plus you got Scott with the pencil mustache, which I hate.
Yeah, that was not a good look. The ponytail and mustache.
I mean, and it's just so crazy because you're talking about Lou, who's had multiple awards, whole nights where it's just a tribute to her. And she can't handle the fact that people are excited about this MJ Sutka person, Mary Jane Sutka.
Yeah, I felt so bad for her friend, like Marnie, who just
my gosh,
appears once or twice, sort of every couple of seasons, and every time it's like Lou just totally taking over and making everything about her, and Marnie just sort of has to put up with it.
Yeah. Last time we saw her, she was catering for the Dude Ranch, I think, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Something helping Lou anyway.
Yeah. Have we seen Mary Jane Sutka before in the show?
No.
I don't think so. But I wasn't sure. And it's hard to keep track of everybody's names.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, it is ridiculous. Like I said, Lou has literally had multiple awards and whole nights that the town is dedicating to just her.
Yeah.
She can't
Yeah.
handle.
Runs multiple businesses and
Right.
is setting up like a franchise.
Yeah. And I feel like it's weird to have a high school reunion that's not at the high school.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when I was like, yeah, Marnie, just just walk away. Yeah, this is just like a sinking ship at this point.
I
Like,
mean, I've
choose.
never been to a high school reunion because I live in Utah. My high school that I went to was in Maryland, so all the way across the country. So I didn't really graduate with my high school class because I graduated early. Because my family moved to California, and so I basically graduated in '98, but my class is '99. But I don't know. I just would imagine that everyone in the world is expecting a high school reunion to be at the high school.
Yeah, you would expect it to be at the high school or at like a community centre within sort of, a close distance to the actual school.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the fact that they were going to have it at the Dude Ranch, which is like probably not easy to get to.
Yeah. Well, and there's no event space
No, there's no
at the
event
Dude
space.
Ranch.
Yeah, and it's people coming in from out of town as well. It's not just, you know, Lou left, so I imagine there's a lot of people that left
Yeah.
and didn't come back.
Yeah. Have you been to a high school reunion?
I haven't been to a high school reunion, but yeah, I'm still in the same, town. Well, next to I went to a high school in the next town over. It's very very close. And yeah, like I, go to the local shopping centre and I see the same people, and so there's really no need for a reunion. Now I was best friends with someone all the way through primary school and high school, and she lives like 5 minutes from me. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a very like small community that I'm from. So yeah, it's just sort of all sort of contained. And yeah, there's people that have left and come back, and I feel like social media is sort of changed it a little bit. That we're
Uh-huh.
sort of always in touch. It's you know you don't see some people, but you feel like you're sort of a part of their life because you talk to them, every day.
Yeah.
It's sort of a strange
It's
thing now
true.
with the
Yeah, you
internet.
don't necessarily need it as much as kind of you
Hmm.
used to because you can see, oh, look, here's how so and so turned
Yeah.
out. Yeah, so and so married so and so. Like you don't. I think
Hmm.
you didn't know, so it was more of a more fun. I think to go to these kinds of things.
Hmm.
I think they did something for my 20th in 2019, but I couldn't make it work. I thought about it,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's
It's
the
not something.
people.
It's not a time that I would like want to go revisit either. It's not really.
Yeah,
It wasn't the greatest time for me, so I'm not really one for going back and rehashing all of that.
I had an okay time in high school. Like I wouldn't,
Hmm.
these movies and stuff like senior year and things when people go back to high school, never been kissed, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare. I would never. But I say that, and my high school experience was fairly benign. It was fine. I just couldn't go back to that kind of restriction and having to
Hmm.
get asked permission to use the bathroom, and it just I just think it would be a nightmare. After being like an adult, I could handle what I
Yeah.
could not handle high school. But
Yeah. There's sort of a romanticism in TV and movies, and it's like, yeah,
mm,
that's not real.
no. But I mean, it is crazy. I think how we treat basically mini adults.
Yeah.
They, my high school. Not only did you have to ask permission to use the bathroom, which I just think is ridiculous, but they only had one bathroom open during the lunch hours and there was literally monitors in front of the bathroom, and because they were supposedly scared of people smoking in the bathroom. And so they closed all the bathrooms except for the one by the cafeteria during lunch hours. And as if that stopped anybody from smoking, because you could just go to the park that was behind the school and everyone smoked there that wanted to smoke. So
Yeah.
it's so absurd. And I don't know, ridiculous. But actually, me, like I said, my high school experience was fairly benign. I don't remember hardly anything that I actually like learned, but the good experiences that I had were doing drama, particularly. Was really fun. I think it would be fun to see some of those people that I was in, drama club and drama plays and stuff with. That would be fun. I was in choir, and I was on the swim team. So those things were fun. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I just, if it had worked out, I would have been maybe interested in going, just because I haven't been to Maryland in a while. But at the time, I went last year actually, but it's not a high priority for me going to high school reunion.
That was really important to Lou.
Yeah, evidently. And yeah, I guess the 25th reunion will be in 2 years. So maybe, who knows? But yeah, she gets super competitive with this Mary Jane Sutka, who's basically like Martha Stewart, evidently. She's got like baby food. I mean, that was a little bit funny that Amy
Yeah, that was funny.
had the baby food. She's like, don't take away Lindy's food, please. and I think it's Jack who says that girl had a way of bringing out the fight in you, which is true.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
yeah, this pencil mustache, woo, not for me.
Yeah, brutal. He's so handsome too. It's like, it's crazy. He just looks so different.
Yeah, and I'm fine with facial hair. Like, I don't mind it, but it just, that style's not my favorite.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's, a different, maybe he's doing a different movie or show at the time. Who knows? But yeah, it's a look.
It's a lot. Evidently, Lou likes it. She likes this look, evidently.
Oh yeah, she's all about it. Yeah, it's enough to sort of rehash their entire relationship.
Yeah, so we get clips. We get these clips of supposedly them in high school, which was just ridiculous. Like, they did not look like they're in high school. And as Scott says, dating you is the only thing about high school I choose to remember. So evidently he was bullied or a nerd or something.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I feel like he would be a pretty cool guy.
Yeah,
I feel
it
like
seems
he's got
like,
that kind of vibe. Like,
yeah.
because he was basically like very much like Ty, when he first came to Heartland. So yeah, he definitely, sort of had that bad boy vibe. That's what I got from sort of the little bits of information that we've had so far.
Yeah, I would think, especially it being a small town like Hudson, I would think that he would fit in quite well. He's very likable. He's very friendly, but evidently, I mean, it can be the worst, I guess. And then we have also George is trying to ride Phoenix and be in this competition for the jumping, and he's not wanting to jump the high jumps. And I think Amy's kind of a terrible coach. Like, I mean, she doesn't really
she can't be good at everything, Rachel.
Well, I found an article where they talk about what it takes to be an equestrian Olympian.
Mhm.
And because it's a little different than some other fields, because like you can be older, like some of them are in their like 50s and things like
Yeah.
that. That is a little more uncommon. But I read this article where it said this what's his name? Laura Crott is her name. She won a gold medal in Beijing. And she
Mhm.
says, I work out regularly, probably more 4 or 5 days a week. Particularly as I get older, I feel like it's more important to keep your core strong because so much of riding is balance. It's not so much leg strength or arm strength, it's the core strength that's very, very important. And so she says her fitness routine consists of a mixture of cardiovascular and strength training. She says, when I am in Florida, I have a trainer there. He has a program that's geared toward riders. It's a lot of different exercises with weights and ropes and lunges and ball tossing. He's got it all. Just that mixed with cardio, I prefer to run.
Mhm.
So that is not being demonstrated by Georgie in this show.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think, I'm trying to think his name, but there's a really like famous equestrian from the UK. I think at the last Olympics I think it was going to be his last one, but he himself again, he's in, I think he's 50s, late 40s, 50s. So he's, been, around for a long time. And I imagine, the strength it would take to hold on to a horse when you're doing those types of things. Plus you have to be prepared for, the horse not, wanting to do, what you want it to do, and sort
Mm-hmm.
of trying to, buck you off, or, it gets upset, you have to hold on, you have to, get yourself away safely. Like, all of that takes strength and conditioning, and also just keeping yourself in such
Mm-hmm.
a good condition that your body can handle, being thrown around, because it looks smooth and sort of gracious when you're seeing it on the TV screen, but I imagine going over those jumps is you get quite a bit of whiplash, and it's quite intense. So yeah, I would imagine you would be in the gym a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would spend, a few days in the gym a week.
Well, and the horses are sensitive uh to everything the rider does, it seems like. And so if you're sort of slouching, or you're not, that core strength isn't, you're not strong enough, then I
Yeah.
would think it would feed off of that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's like most animals in terms of like they can sense your emotions. Um, they do say that with dogs and things like that. The way that you hold a leash, or the way that you act around, certain things, they sort of feed off of your energy. And imagine it's
Hmm.
even more intense with a horse because, you're in such close, you're in contact with them. Um, and I imagine there has to be a lot of trust, in that the rider has to be confident and the horse has to trust them completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, it is a little hard to believe that Georgie's, going for the Olympics when this is the routine that they've got going.
Yeah. It's kind of like, if you feel
And
like it.
yeah, and that's the type of stuff that I like love. I love sports shows. Even stuff like Friday Night Lights. I've never watched a full game of American football in my life, but I've seen every episode of that show. And different things like Make It or Break It, which is a TV show I think was on a few years back, ABC Family, about gymnastics. Um, I can't do a handstand, but I loved that show, and I feel like there's such a compelling thing about sports stories
Yeah.
and underdog stories particularly, that they could do a really great storyline here. Um, and considering that Ty isn't around as much, Lou isn't around as much, they've got the time to sort of focus and make a really good story here. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot frustrating.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm more a fan of of sports in the movies than sports. I think I
Yeah,
used
for
to
sure.
like sports better, but it was one of those things that had to go. I mean, even I don't even hardly watch the Olympics as much as I used to. I used to be a big fan. I still enjoy it, but I just don't have time anymore to watch.
Yeah.
You think an average sports game is hours long, like multiple hours. I just don't have
Yeah.
time anymore. I don't watch Dancing with the Stars anymore. I don't watch it. I'm 4 episodes behind on Survivor, which I love Survivor. So I just running out of time. There's not
Yeah.
enough time.
There's not enough time. Like, the only sport that I really watch is tennis. I've watched it, and obviously Wimbledon is such a big deal here.
Oh yeah.
It just sort of takes over the TV. So it's sort of unavoidable. But that's such a hard sport to market, because it's like a men's match
Yeah.
can last, 3 hours to 6 hours, and it's like there's no way of knowing how do you market that.
I'd rather just watch the 30 for 30
Yeah.
documentary about it. Yeah, and even the Olympics have gotten kind of, I mean, I still enjoy them, but you just have these scummy countries that are, cheating and
Ruining it.
participating. It
Yeah.
kind of hurts it a little bit. Like I kind of didn't watch much of the skating this last time, and that's usually a highlight for me. It was just depressing.
Yeah, it's depressing. I follow skating quite a bit, and the hangover from that as well, just because I follow a lot of skaters and a lot of podcasts and web shows that talk about skating.
Mm-hmm.
And that is still very much in the conversation and very much hanging over sports. And there's no like answer on the Russian skating, and there's no
Yeah.
answer on low raising the age limit. That they're still sort of very much in the air with that. So yeah, it's still just depressing.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I say scummy countries, I just mean the boards and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Not the people.
yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
They Amy and Georgie do have a good fight in this.
Yeah, yeah.
About this. And then Georgie apologizes to Phoenix, which was kind of cute.
It was really cute. And I also wish the show would recognise that, as a fan, I really want to see Georgie Phoenix storylines. I really want to see Spartan again. I really want to.
Mm-hmm.
Those relationships are just as important as the human ones.
Yeah.
So
Well, and we've said multiple times that, like, why is she never riding Phoenix anymore?
Yeah.
And so
yeah,
he deserved an apology.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like he earned that apology.
He did. And then Amy apologizes and says, "I've been distracted."
You're joking.
So there you go. Yeah.
With all the other jobs that Amy's got to do now that Lou's gone, Ty's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the last time we saw Phoenix as like a major plot was when they got sick, when the horses got sick.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was good. And then at the end, they show him jumping. So he appreciated the apology, evidently.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Lou, she lies about the fact that she says she's still married. So she wants Peter to go as her husband, but then him and Katie cancel. And I feel like it's a little bit unrealistic that they wouldn't have an actual custody agreement at this point between Peter and Lou.
Yeah, like I understand that, Lou is sort of probably doesn't have a set schedule, so it might be a little bit difficult. But yeah, it's sort of, I guess it suits the show, in that they can just sort of bring people in whenever they sort of have to. But yeah, like it is a little frustrating when it's they're this person's at like a conference and this person's
yeah
Katie doesn't want to stay in Vancouver, but she's there now, and it's like, hang on a minute. I thought she wanted to stay in Heartland.
Yeah. And these clips, I mean, like, they really make Lou look like a terrible person in this episode.
Yeah, I don't think it did anything for Lou or the relationship seem, like any great loss.
Yeah. And then she tries to get Mitch to pretend to be her husband, which was
the audacity.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him at all. He was
No.
right. And then they showed the clips of her being terrible to him.
It's so crazy that she really thought he would say yes.
Yeah. Ridiculous. We have a little bit of Amy being upset about Tim, about her dad, and she's kind of upset with Ty. And then we have this scene with Tim saying goodbye to the cows.
That was weird. They were sort of acting like his bond with the cows was like Amy and Spartan. I was like, what was this? What's happening?
And then we also have Tim and Jack fighting over the contract. And we have Jack telling Tim, "You're not supposed to go before me."
Oh, that was probably the best part of the episode.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. And then Jack just says, "Let's just do it in a fair way. I'll sign the contract." And so there we go. This episode, I don't think it was very good. I mean, especially if it makes one of your lead characters look like a major jerk.
Yeah. And she not only did it not look good for in terms of the relationship, but she was also really awful to Marnie.
Right. I would have been so mad if I was Marnie. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, who's like 6 months, 7 months pregnant at the time as well. Poor woman.
And then Lou and Scott are talking. It's because of us that I don't like going back to the old days, remembering how we were. And there's a song about bad timing. It's our theme song. They says it's our theme song. And then they kiss, which was awkward.
It was out of nowhere, and I was so shocked when it happened. That's like, oh, please don't do this.
It definitely wasn't romantic, that's for sure.
It
was just kind of like, oh,
yeah.
One more reason why Lou's being a jerk.
Yeah.
What is she doing?
When someone's like crying is never good.
Yeah. And then later when they talk about it and he's like, well, I'm in a relationship, then what is he doing kissing Lou? That's rude.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like he was absolutely a willing permissive. Can't speak. I've got you. I've caught you. Not been able to speak. But he was more than willing to take part in that, and if I was the person that he was dating, I would have questions. I
would be so mad, of course.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I give this one 6.
Generous. 5.
5. I thought about a 5 and then I hedged.
Yeah, I'll just 5 just because like 10 minutes of the episode was previous episodes.
Yeah, it's a clip show.
Yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast,
the Heartland TV show on Up, Faith and Family.
Fans of the hit family drama Heartland know that Up, Faith and Family is the only place to stream every season of Heartland, including behind-the-scenes exclusive content.
All 15 seasons of Heartland are available and ready to binge only in Up, Faith and Family.
And if you love Heartland, then you will love the dramatic new series Mystic.
Escape into a world of mysterious adventure, mystifying secrets and magical moments as we follow a group of horse-loving teens who are regulars at their local stables on the fictional peninsula of Calvary Point, New Zealand.
First 3 episodes of Mystic are now available to stream with a new episode every Thursday.
Go to upfaithandfamily.com untitled.com/hallmarkies today to sign up for your 14-day free trial.
That's upfaithandfamily.com/hallmarkies. All right. Then next, Past Imperfect. And this episode, we have Lindy. She is having a fear of strangers phase. And so she doesn't want to be taken care of by anybody. And she sees Lou as kind of a stranger because she hasn't been there that much. And we have more flashbacks of Lou thinking back to high school. And I swear the one scene where she's supposedly just like with the horses and hanging out the ranch, it looked like she had like a professional blowout job for her hair. I was like, that's not what she's going to be wearing. But basically this episode, there's this bag that Ty has from Mongolia, and it has some super secret flash drive, because that was a thing still. What was this? 2018? Still, there was no clouds, I guess, evidently. They still needed the flash drive. And it's like hidden in this bag, and Ty has it. Ty gives it to Georgie, and then they end up getting their apartment completely ransacked, and Amy's freaking out, which I would probably be too.
Amy was like, I'm not letting anybody scare me out of my apartment. I was like, I would numbers.
I think I would too. And how did they not notice that? Were they gone? Like everybody was gone from Heartland. Nobody noticed that there was.
No, they were in the main house.
Yeah, so you would definitely notice, because
they would hear.
There would be a car coming up to the barn. It would be loud. I mean, they would definitely notice.
Yeah. They might not have lights on, but they would certainly hear a car coming. They would certainly hear things being thrown around. It was a little unbelievable that they were just in the main house having dinner for what, like an hour?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But anyway, it gets ransacked, and there's a cue between Lou and Jack, and when Jack says any union that could produce those two beautiful girls is anything but a failure. And so that was good. And then they show that fight between Peter and Lou. Again, this is another basically a clip episode. And I'm like, Peter was right. And every single point he makes, I'm on Team Peter. He was right.
Yeah, it doesn't age well in terms of Lou putting her career first now.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and she did buy the house without consulting him. She did do all of these things without consulting him, without involving him in the marriage. And then she's upset that he's estranged from their relationship. Yeah, that happens when you don't communicate with the person that you have a relationship with.
Yeah, their relationship is so doomed at that point.
Frankly, Georgie is much better at relationships than Lou. She's got this whole Adam and Wyatt dynamic, but she's managing it much better than anything that.
Yeah, she's upfront with both of them. She's very considerate that they have a friendship now, and she doesn't want to cause a wedge there. She wants them to be able to be friends as well, away from her.
Yeah. She talks to Adam about the situation, and he's like, Olivia will be looking forward to all the double dating possibilities. And I'm like, what has happened to Olivia? There's no way that she'd be like looking forward to double dating with Georgie.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah. And we get more flashbacks with Lou with Mitch. And so, I don't know. And then the llamas get out at the reserve. And we also see Georgie with the owl at the reserve. And that was very brave. I'd be scared with the
I held,
owl.
I held an owl. It was 15, 14, 15. Like gorgeous, gorgeous animals. Yeah, I love owls. I've seen them a few times at just like events and things like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of scared. So,
I had birds growing up, so yeah, I'm a little bit more desensitized to them. Um,
mhm.
we had
Yeah.
like, I think we had a parakeet, and we had some like a few budgies and things like that. So yeah, they're very complex animals to take care of.
Yeah. Well, evidently there's this exotic animal training network, and that's what's on this flash drive, I guess,
hmm
that they don't have on any backup. They just have it on the one flash
Yeah, I just want them to stop mentioning Mongolia and stop
drive.
bringing storylines in from Mongolia.
Ugh.
Like it's the worst storyline they've ever done, and they just won't let it go.
Yeah,
And
without question.
we get tie back for one episode, and it's still to do with what happened in Mongolia, and it's like not excuse me, nothing that interesting happened in Mongolia that
No.
needs to be rehashed and sort of retreaded over and over. I'm so done with it.
Mm. Yeah, me
Um,
too. And you got that creepy rattlesnake package. That was weird. And it's just like, why are they trying to make the show into like MacGyver? It's
yeah,
not.
I was just about to say
Ties.
why why is this like I'm trying to think of a show, but like it was such a weird storyline to put into Heartland.
Mhm.
This is not what we tune into Heartland for. Um,
Yeah.
the next episode is probably my favorite. Excuse me, is probably my favorite one of the three. There was just a lot in that I really enjoyed. I didn't take a lot of notes during the next episode. It was just a really pleasant episode. But I'm not here for like poacher storylines and like ransacking apartments and stalking and
Yeah.
hidden flash drives, and it just felt like such a weird plot in the middle of a show that
Yeah. And
isn't
then
really
like clips of Lou being the
Lou's
worst.
relationship. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It would be different if it was an episode set in Mongolia in that world. But yeah, having sort of the two storylines together just didn't fit for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, and so Ty beats up this guy. And after he's like abducted, they want to make sure he didn't make a copy of this super secret exotic animal training network. And then the police arrest him. And then we have Scott saying it should have never happened because he's a jerk. And then he says, you need to stop worrying about what everyone else thinks. Don't apologize for your choices. So,
hmm
and then the last is Lindy calls Lou Aunt Goo, which was cute.
I like that we
But
have a tiny little ponytail on our head.
right. uh I don't know. I feel like this one is also bad. So
Yeah.
maybe I really should give the first one a 5 and then give this one a 6.
I'll give it a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was not a good one.
All right. So then we have episode 15, Strength of Bonds. And I do agree, this is the best of the
Mhm.
three. Georgie is training in the arena this time with Peyton. Peyton's horse is acting super skittish. So, of course, they have to bring him to Amy. And Tyson is the name of the horse.
Mhm.
And so Peyton is the one who that Georgie got in a big fight with about going to they were going to I forget where on the trip. But then Georgie ran away. And so Peyton was the one that was all involved in all of this. I did kind of laugh because they're doing Canadian Thanksgiving here in this episode, and I always
Yeah.
think of How I Met Your Mother when
Okay.
when Barney is like, they have Thanksgiving in Canada. What did they even have to be thankful for? But I guess Thanksgiving in Canada is always on the 10th, October 10th.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, whereas we have it on the third Thursday of November. So it doesn't matter what date when it's on. So they're different.
Yeah.
But
It's
there's
just a Thursday
evidently
here. We just have
there's
regular Thursdays.
you don't have anything to be thankful for, right?
No, we don't have anything to be thankful for.
But there's evidently the super secret family stuffing recipe from Marion passed down to Lou. But Lou can't make it home for Thanksgiving weekend, which is ridiculous, but whatever.
Yeah, Lou can't make it back for Thanksgiving. Ty can't be at Lindy's first Thanksgiving because he's at a conference. I'm like,
Yeah, ridiculous.
yeah, ridiculous. They need to come up with some better excuses.
Like, why couldn't they just say that Ty is visiting his mother? That would
Yeah,
be way
Ty.
more believable.
Yeah, Ty's still visiting his mother.
Yeah, we go. Done. I mean, the idea that there's like these like huge big meetings happening Thanksgiving week is
Yeah,
ridiculous. I mean, it's the
ridiculous.
same thing
Yeah,
like we have with Hallmark all the time, where people have these big deadlines on Christmas. I'm like, nobody's working on Christmas. Like, it's ridiculous.
yeah. I
But
would
I
be
mean, I guess
quitting
it is.
every single job.
I mean, I guess it is Canadian Thanksgiving, so maybe people would actually be working. But still, I mean, she would be home with her family, and most of the meetings you could probably do online, but
Mhm.
because it's 2018, it's not like it was when the show first started.
For sure. Yeah.
But anyway, the whole thing with Peyton's horse and Amy working with the horse, a difficult horse. I feel like we haven't had one of those for a little bit since probably Tilla. And so that was good to see back.
Yeah. It
And
felt very sort of Heartlandy. It didn't feel like, you know,
mhm,
anything super original or anything we haven't already seen before, but it certainly was better than what we had the previous 2 episodes.
yeah, yeah. And then so Lisa wants the stuffing recipe from Lou, and she doesn't know if she'll be able to get it. There's this back and forth. She buys the ingredients for making stuffing, and I don't know. Can stuffing be that individual? Stuffing is
I just buy the box. I'm with Lisa, just buy the box.
we actually usually have two different kinds of stuffing because my mom makes gluten-free cornbread stuffing, and then
Mhm.
we have the regular stuffing or dressing, depending on how you call it. But I did like when Jack says, "Call her, don't just text her." And why don't people want to have a conversation anymore? Which is true. But if you're looking for a recipe, it kind of makes more sense to text, because then they can text you the recipe. Whereas if they're
Yeah.
giving it to you
Yeah.
vocally, then you got to write it down and
Yeah. Yeah. If it was me, even if you were doing the phone call, you would be like, text me the
right.
text me
Yeah.
the ingredients recipe.
Yeah. And so we also have a nice storyline in this episode between Tim and Jade.
Oh, this was so good. Yeah.
Jade is back from
hmm
school. She's homesick. She struggles.
hmm
And she finally gets Georgie to tell her about Tim, and then she's upset with him. And he says, I should have told her myself. We get some flashbacks with Jade. And then Jack talks to Jade, and he says he cares, Jade. He cares a lot. Try seeing this through his eyes. So that was a nice moment. And then Jade says that she's made up her mind to stay. And she's going to help work with Tim, and basically everything they have in Texas she can do there. So why? It was good. I thought it was a good little arc.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and it really strengthened their bond, and I like that, Tim was really struggling with it. He really does see Jade as, he says not a real daughter, but she's essentially like a daughter to him now. And you
Yeah.
could definitely see that in the struggle with him, telling her that. And I didn't completely agree with her decision to give up the college, and because it seemed like such a great opportunity, unless they're just wanting Jade around more for more episodes, which, I understand that maybe they want to bring her back for that. But yeah, it seemed giving up a huge, opportunity that was sort of laid out for her
Uh-huh.
a few episodes ago. But yeah, I can also understand her wanting to be around until, they know for sure, what they're dealing with in terms of his illness, if it's going to be something serious or not.
Yeah. Well, and they make it sound like at least that she can get as good an education wherever she's at. So I forgot the name of the school, but so I mean, it's a little hard for me to relate to because I've never really been somebody who was homesick. Except for maybe on my mission, that's the only time. But that was a little bit different because we couldn't have any contact except for letters, and so that was hard.
Oh yeah,
But
that's so hard.
yeah, but I don't know. I was so ready. I was ready to. My mom had a baby when I was 17, and so uh,
You were like, get me out of here.
yeah, I don't want to be around this baby. It's stressful. I want to get out of this house. When I turned 18 and I turned actually it was 18. My mom had a baby when I was 18. But when I turned 18, my dad read a Declaration of Independence for me because there was no human being more ready to move out than I was. Like
That's so
leave.
good.
I don't know. Did you ever move away from home?
I did move away from home, but yeah, I imagine I would be quite homesick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I am very sort of attached to my parents, and so, Glasgow,
Mm-hmm.
it's such a hard concept, the idea of living somewhere else. And I'm
Yeah.
so lucky to live in a city that has pretty much everything. Um,
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to move anywhere for, different. It, it's just all of my interests. There's always something,
Yeah.
in my city. We have such great theaters and cinemas, and you know, any sort of show or
Mm-hmm.
band or whatever, they always come here. So I'm very lucky in that sense of, I don't feel like I'm sort of missing anything from, not moving it somewhere else.
Yeah, I think I just needed my independence. I was
Hmm.
a very independent person. And but plus my family had moved to California my senior year of high school. That's
Hmm.
why I basically graduated early. And so it's not like I had a lot of attachment to where they were living. I didn't have any friends there. I didn't have,
Yeah.
so there was just no reason for me to stay there. But anyway, yeah, I remember my younger sister, Anna, when she was going to school, she had some homesickness, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't really relate.
Yeah.
But
You're like, maybe if your mom had another baby, she would understand.
yeah.
She'd be like, yeah, get me out of here.
Um, so we also have this whole thing with Wyatt sending Georgie
Ugh.
roses, and then he takes her to this nice dinner, but then he
Mhm.
wants to dine and dash. Uh,
I don't know if
and
you noticed the waiter. He was so familiar to me, and then I looked at his IMDb, and he's been in like a million Hallmark movies.
yeah,
He's been in everything. He's been in like Mystery 101, Sweet Carolina. You mean Christmas tree? He's been in
Yeah,
everything.
Daniel
Five
Bacon
star,
is his
yeah,
name.
5-star Christmas, garage sale mysteries. Like, this guy's been in more Hallmark movies than a lot of people.
Yeah. But yeah, I felt bad for the waiter because
Yeah.
that's just not right. And I was glad to hear
No.
when he says that he did pay
Mhm.
in the end. He did go back and pay.
Yeah.
But have you ever been to a really fancy dinner like this?
I'm trying to think. I've been in fancy restaurants, but I don't think anything as fancy as that. Um, but yeah, I would never go to something. I would always have way more money than I would ever need at a restaurant like that, just to be careful. You know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you would never go to something like, unless you're a kid and you don't sort of realize that they have these sort of set prices for everything of, like, you know,
Yeah. You did wonder, like, what
hundreds
was
of
Wyatt
dollars.
thinking? Did he think this would
Yeah,
be a cheap place?
yeah, yeah. It's not McDonald's.
Yeah. The fanciest dinner that I've ever been to was this special. There used to be this place called Bake 360, which was my favorite.
Hmm.
They brought in this special chef, and they had a chef's table
Hmm.
restaurant, and I think it was $75, which was a lot for one meal, but
Hmm.
not as much as this one. But I they had multiple courses. I looked up the menu. They had butter poached red crab with citrus braised fennel and caviar, and then warm ricotta with cracked pepper, speck, lamb's lettuce, and olive oil. A seared diver's scallop with celeriac puree, kumquats, and chervil oil. An heirloom carrot risotto with pea shoots and espelette, pan roasted teres major with fingerling potato confit, broccolini, red wine demi, and then the dessert was a surprise. I can't remember what it was. It was delicious though, and so that's the fanciest dinner I've ever been to, but it was really fun.
Yeah, I feel it's so hard for me to go to anything like that. Like, I've been to one where it's sort of the same thing, where you have multiple courses and very small courses because
Yeah.
they have so many. But it's so hard for me because I don't like shell food. Fish is very sort of touch and go for me as well. There's just some stuff I won't eat. I won't eat lamb. Try to think. There's
Mm-mm.
other caviar I just won't touch. Sushi I won't touch. Like,
Oh
seafood
yeah.
is very much like a no for me. So yeah, it's sort of hard to navigate a menu like that. Um, and it's sort of a similar thing when you go to the sort of fancy restaurants. There tends to be just a lot of seafood,
Mm.
at least one or
Yeah,
two,
they do have a lot
courses.
of
Yeah,
like scallops
yeah,
and things like
yeah.
that.
'Cause I'm trying to think of the name of the town, because it wasn't here that I went. It was sort of a coastal town, so it was very sort of seafood was just sort of
Mm.
90% of the menu, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be brutal.
The dessert was flourless chocolate cake with shortbread, raspberry sauce, and clotted cream.
Oh, I love raspberry and chocolate. I feel
Yeah,
like it's the best. It's the best combination.
it was it was really fun. I like seafood fine,
Hmm.
especially if it's well made like this.
Yeah,
That was fun. I have some things I don't like. Anything, it's more of a texture thing. I actually am not
yeah.
the biggest scallops fan. A lot of times they're kind of, I don't know, even when I feel like they're made well, they're a little chewy.
Hmm.
But but yeah, it's interesting. Uh, but yeah, I mean, do you think Georgie should have like caught on that this was a little awkward?
I feel like Georgie sort of knows Wyatt enough to know that he was really overcompensating and really out of his depth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's and also kind of a little bit awkward and a little bit of a nerd as well. So I feel like she should have sort of realised, especially with the 2 bunches of flowers thing, he was really feeling insecure of Georgie being in this world that he's not a part of. And also there's a guy in that world that is very much, interested in Georgie. So yeah, I feel like she maybe should have coined on a little bit earlier that he was feeling very insecure and he definitely didn't have enough money to pay for.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he has like a job or anything, whereas Georgie, she has a job.
Yeah. She works at the Maggie's, right?
Yeah, she works at Maggie's.
So that's her main job.
Hmm.
But she finally just tell him, you don't need to buy all these fancy things. And then they had their Thanksgiving dinner where everyone says what they're thankful for, which was super cute.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really sweet, and it does make me miss Ty and Lou, and sort of it just feels a little weird with them not there, but I feel like they did a really great job with this episode in terms of making it feel, like a really wholesome Heartland episode.
Yeah, I think so, especially that ending.
Mhm.
So what would you give this one?
I'll give this one a 7.
Yeah, I think that's good. I like when Georgie said, so you're trying to keep up with the guy I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same girl that didn't want to go to a dance. She just wanted to go on a trail ride. So yeah,
Yeah.
she's a simple girl.
Well, if you're listening, let us know what you think of these 3 episodes. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And we'll be finishing off season 11 next week, which is amazing.
We're just racing through.
And you'll have heard the our ad spot for Up Faith and Family, but I thought I'd just reiterate that they are sponsoring us this week, which is amazing. So if you're a Heartland fan, make sure to watch season 16 that is premiering on Up Faith and Family, and then also the new show Mystic, which sounds really fun. Maybe we'll have to check that out.
I watched an episode.
Oh, you did? How was it?
I did. If you like Heartland, definitely check it out. It's very much Heartland inspired, it seems.
Oh, good.
And if you like the sort of ghost storyline in Heartland, then you would absolutely love this show.
Cool.
It's a little bit more sort of teen drama, but yeah, really fun.
Cool. Very good. Well, Michelle, how can people find you?
On Twitter at Michelle R. Benson.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Homeworkies Pod and Homeworkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave us your ratings and reviews, 5 stars. That helps us so much. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group and merch store, and you can get Heartland inspired merch. So definitely check that out. And thanks so much. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.